Good evening, and welcome to another repetitive version of Diatribes from the voice of Doom. Now here's your regurgitative and repulsive host, voice of Doom. Hello. I just did a diatribe about 8 hours ago, and now I'm going to do a coda, an addendum to what I already said, because I need to explain a little more and bring things to people's attention. Yes, I went through the Sunday news and they were catching up to what I said, but I won't begrudge them that. Vis-a-vis what's happened in the last 2 years and I don't know how many months, seems like an eternity. I last left you with Petri dish promoting and using draconian measures to make sure everybody got the serum. Having billions and billions of vials produced by Pfizer and Moderna and whoever else the hell it is, Johnson & Johnson or whoever, Procter & Gamble, they're perfect for that. But I want to kind of recapitulate what I said in a much earlier diatribe, probably about over a year ago, when I gave you an overview of what would have happened if Orangy had been re-elected and the same exact sequence of events had happened with him in office. And I made it clear that they would have impeached him 6 or 7 times in the last 2 years. And now it would be up to 10 or 12 impeachment hearings and proceedings, because if it had been Orangy doing what Petri dish is doing right now, there wouldn't be a city left standing. Now, it was Petri dish. The left loves Petri dish. BLM loves Petri dish. The racists, the wokesters, the scum of the earth, the devils, the demons, everything from the negative side of the universe loves Petri dish. And there's a lot of them on this planet that are carrying his water. But I want to recapitulate a bit about if Orangy had won re-election. That is not going to happen. That was not going to happen. I don't care. They would do almost anything. They would do anything to make sure that didn't happen. And they did. They cheated in the election, and anybody that says they cheated was guilty of disinformation and jailed. But why did they need Petri dish in office instead of Orangy? Orangy initiated the fast tracking of producing a vaccine for the COVID virus, even though he also advocated for treatments and therapeutics and other ways. But let's just say that the serum came out in late 21 and Orangy was re-elected through some means or another. No one would take the serum, would they? If Orangy was promoting the serum, do you think anybody would take it? Maybe some people would, but a lot of people wouldn't. Wokesters would be in the street, burning down every building they could find and destroying every police car they could find if Orangy said, you have to get the serum or you're going to lose your job. They would be rioting in the street. Now let's just take it to another issue, but it's all tied together. If Orangy had been re-elected, first of all, Vlad the Mad and G Happiness would probably be very hesitant and loath to start an international incident because, as everyone in what used to be America knows, Orangy was a loose cannon. He was in bed with everybody, and you never know what the hell he was going to do. That's according to the mainstream idiots. So he was unpredictable. So Vlad probably would not have encroached on Ukraine in the first place. But if he did, let's just say he did the same exact thing when Orangy was in office. And Orangy said, we're going to empty our coffers to help Ukraine fight against the Russians. Cities would burn. All these wokesters would suddenly remember the old Vietnam riots, the protests, and go, we're anti-war. Orangy is starting a war. He's going to get us into World War III just like we said. But you don't hear a peep from them now. It's funny. Has everybody really thought about that? I've thought about it. If the same thing had been happening right now with Orangy in office, cities would be burning. Everybody knows it because everything's tribal. Everything's biased. Everything's partisan. If Petri Dish is president, then having Ukraine blow to smithereens is fine. If Petri Dish is president, it's fine to arm Taiwan and get ready for a confrontation with happiness. Petri Dish is in office. It's a perfectly noble thing to go out and get your serum and get your free six-pack or whatever they're offering that week. But if Orangy was president and he was urging people to get the serum wearing a jester's cap with a wheel of fortune, like that idiot from California, Newsom, that's when I realized it was a scam. Because I was traveling through California going from Colorado to back to Nevada, and I just happened to stay in a motel and turned on the television set, and I was just lucky. That's just how my life is. Everything worked out perfect. I turned on the television set. I saw Newsom in a jester's cap spinning a wheel of fortune to get the vaccine, and anybody who gets it gets a chance at the wheel. And I would go, this ain't right. Something's really wrong here. And that's when I decided I'm anti-toxin. I'm against everything that they say. I won't do a word they say. I will not follow them ever. Because I can see what they're trying to do. Now, I'm going to get a little into the weeds a bit because I've said this before, but I think they're loosening up things a bit. So maybe I can explain to you a little something. ACE2 receptors on your cells. That is what the serum mRNA messenger concoction binds with. Now what happens is this. It's in your body, all over, it's all through it. It's supposed to stay in your arm, in the muscle, but they're letting anybody do anything with everything, so the serum's going all through your body. What happens is every time a new strain comes along, it creates spikes in your intravenous arteries and veins. It creates spikes and it creates waste. You can find this if you want to, if you look deep enough. The waste goes into your blood. The spikes create blood clots, thrombocytopenia, thrombosis, deep vein thrombosis, blood clots in the brain, blood clots in the lungs, blood clots in the heart, blood clots in your arteries. That's just the thrombosis. Myocarditis. It's been proven. It's been shown. The AVID, NVID. The effects, the side effects of certain concoctions. There are always side effects, but they know what they are. Myocarditis. People on football teams dropping unexplained deaths everywhere. He was in the prime of life. He just dropped dead. I'm just going to lay it out because it's too late for people to do anything about it. There's going to be another pandemic. People who have already gotten the serum will get blood clots. And the ones that don't are going to panic. And they're going to all rush around to get a vaccine. For a pandemic that could be much worse, a new strain of COVID that's more resistant, Nipah, which is 80% fatal. You can go back in my diatribes and look this all up. I'm going to scare you to death if you're not dying already, because I'm really sick of holding back on all this crap. So if Orangy had been reelected, none of this would have happened. No one would have taken the vaccine. They would have been in the street protesting vehemently against Orangy's vaccine. Ukraine, they'd be burning down cities, saying no war in Ukraine. What business is it of ours to be in Ukraine, to be sending bombs? Remember? Buffalo Springfield? Something happened around here. What it is ain't exactly clear. Those days, we were in a stupid war in Southeast Asia, and the wokesters of that era rose up and burned down frickin' campuses and rioted and had a frickin' cow until they finally got the hell out of there. Not so now. All the wokesters and the hipsters and the hippies and the what have yous and the beatniks are all cheering for the new Winston Churchill, Zelensky, saying, keep the war going, it's a noble thing. So you see how mad it is? It's insane. And I just finished it up just the way I wanted to, because you just put Orangy in office right now and have all the things that have happened in the last 2.5 years, and you would have seen so many impeachment hearings, so many trials, so many arrests by the D's, because they would be aghast. And you can go back to What If Trump Had Won, my video about a year ago, and see what would have happened if Orangy had been president when that ridiculous retreat from Afghanistan took place. He would have been skewered for that. Absolutely skewered, leaving billions of dollars of equipment and bugging out and leaving everybody out to dry, having a ridiculous debacle of a pullout, whatever they call it. It's the greatest, whatever he called it, greatest evacuation in the history of war. Yeah, if Orangy had been president, we would have seen an evacuation, all right. But he isn't president, is he? We have Petri dish. And that's why our lifespan is going to be curtailed quite dramatically, except for those that have a brain. Except for those that are sentient, they will carry on. Carry on, love is calling. They will carry on, and the truth will prevail. And hopefully karmic retribution will be severe and eternal. And that will be that. So I finished up what I wanted to say. Cheers. And enjoy this video because I think it was a pretty good one. Good night.